I'm Chosen Architect, and this is my modded adventure. So huge news. I have spent this entire week working on Quest for this mod pack, and I can tell you what, this has been a fun journey of learning and all kinds of good stuff. So what do we have available now in the latest update? Quest. That's right. I now have some basic sort of quest set up to kind of lead you into a direction, but not necessarily push you in any direction, right? There are kind of quest rewards. If we go into here, we can go ahead and accept. And early on, there's a lot of good things, good rewards that you can get from all of the quests. And of course, I recommend taking a look at all of these. These are really worth it. Look at that. We got ourselves a boomerang. And yeah, there's a lot of cool things. I recommend looking it out. I don't want to spoil too much. We're going to be getting into some of the other quests here soon, but I did want to mention right off the bat that quests are now in the pack, and oh, I'm excited. Now, of course, aside from all that, there's been lots of bug fixes and things like that, and I'm just kind of excited to talk a little bit about it. There's been a lot of improvement updates into these new updates, so be sure to check that out. And also server files are now available, because I did see several of you guys asking about the server playability. And yes, it is available. And of course, you can find that all on the Curse Forge page, linked down in the description below. Now, of course, back to what I have planned for today, and that is source production. I need to produce a lot of source. Now, of course, producing source takes a little bit of space in order to do. And so that's where I want to get started on our tower build. That's right. I'm going to start work in production of what is ultimately going to be, that's right, our wizard tower. I know, it's gonna happen. Now for this wizard tower, I really want to add some contrast, and I think dark oak is going to be the way to do this. It seems like one of the best alternatives. I've looked through a ton of different log materials, and it really does feel like that's it. So I'm on my way to a dark oak forest. Man, this spell right here is so good because we can activate our glider once we've used this spell, and we can continue to glide through the sky. Oh, this is so nice. Now, this isn't exactly the dark oak forest I was looking for, but it should get the job done. I need to harvest a ton of logs. Now that I'm back, I have a plan. I want this to be the center location of this, and I want to set this tower up so I can have multiple ways of generating source that inevitably lead down to our middle section here. And what I want is I've already marked these locations, and I'm going to build what is essentially going to be a 9x9 out of the oak here that is going to lead all the way up. I still got to figure out exactly how tall, but I'm sure I'll figure this out. I mean, can I even express how I feel about this build? Because it's absolutely amazing and came out way better than I could have ever expected. Oh my God, this is so nice. I mean, just look at the sheer thing. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I love it. I love it so much. Even the roof. I don't think I've ever been able to complete a roof like this. Oh, and I'm learning. I'm learning so much. Yes, this right here is fantastic. The only thing left to do is figure out a way to go from one level to the other. I didn't want to build stairs in here because I know stairs can be kind of ugly. But as you can see, we can get from level to level. This is the top level. Oh, it's so pretty with the, the stained glass. And then we have these little areas out here for some cool things that I have planned in the future. Oh, just look at this. And I'm sure more is going to happen to this build. But source was the thing that I wanted to get done. And then, of course, figuring out how to get from level to level. Now, there is a mod in here that makes it quite easy to get from level to level. And right here is also a center point. So if we go ahead and break this and we maybe go out and find some more wool, or if we have enough string, which we might have enough string to be able to complete this, we need to make ourselves some elevators. It is going to cost an ender pearl, but is well worth it. And thankfully, in our quest, we actually get an elevator as a reward. We get 2 more, which is very nice. And so now we should have 3 elevators, and it allows us to go from place to place. And we can also disguise the way the elevator looks. So right here should be the center. And now we can travel from this lower area to the upper. And then, of course, we can go to the next, and so on and so forth. Yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. I think to make this feel even more magical, which I still need to decorate this bottom floor. I did do all the other ones. What we can do is, if we break this, we can place in a trapdoor. Now, if you place it directly in the top, it's going to look like this, which is not exactly what I want. What I want is to place it on the side. And when you do that, it actually places it the way it should be. And it looks just like a trapdoor laying here. So yeah, ultimately I ended up moving this actually away from the center because I think it being in the center is sort of a limitation. So I moved it off to the side and then also made sure to set the direction and hide the arrow. If you don't, you can see the arrow, but if you hide it, you can't see the arrow. And so now I can travel between all of these areas and I end up exactly where I want to be. And the cool part is because I have that set up like this, now I can go ahead and place, for example, this up in the top of the tower, which I think looks phenomenal. Oh, this is going to be so nice. Just having this up here, ready to go anytime we want to craft something. Now, of course, up until this point, we haven't really been producing source, which is like the main power of Ars, right? And so the best way to get it done early on, in my opinion, is to use starbunkles. But we're going to need something very specific in order to get this to work. We first need to convert our starbunkles. So it's going to require 4 gold, and we place this in, and this is going to get us an actual placeable starbuncle. One that is going to be tamed to us and is going to do our bidding. It's actually a really cool mob. So as you can see right here, we get ourselves a cute little starbuncle. These little guys can do some interesting things. They can pick up items and then place them in a chest for you. But the cool part about these things is that they can actually harvest source berries, which is a very powerful way of generating source. If you use an agronomic source link, we can actually get source from the berries growing, which is really cool. And you actually get a bonus for using source berries. And then the source berries that are collected, we can then send those to the mycelial source link. This is going to eat those berries, and it's going to all generate source for us and put it into a source jar. So actually really powerful. And one of the best ways to sort of get this set up is to have 2 of these little guys. So I'm going to go ahead and make 1 more, and then we should be able to set this up. And I think I'm going to set it up on the bottom level. This is actually going to be, or not the bottom level, the second from the bottom. And that's going to be sort of a nice little looking source production area. I think this is going to be pretty nice. So this is the bottom, and then this right here will be the next layer. And what I kind of want to do is I want the source to sort of be produced over here in this like holding area. That way I can send it anywhere else across the base. Now for this setup, I'm going to have dirt that's sort of going to be placed around And that also includes on the ground. I don't want this to all be completely all in one spot because I think it looks a little bit better to have some verticality, especially on these crops, as these mobs can wander around, right? So if we get them all placed in here, also I'm going to end up replacing the floor as well. I'm going to leave this area back here cleared out for the most part. Let's see. That should look really good like this. Oh, it's just super exciting. The floor, I'm going to basically clear out the floor, and we should be able to place like a bunch of dirt down in here, but I want a path. That way we can walk from here over here. I probably don't want to get rid of too much of this. That would be kind of bad. So yeah, I think the majority of it is going to be just situated right on this side. And that should be plenty. This is going to be plenty of space for this setup. So I'm going to use a mixture of dirt and coarse dirt to sort of give it a little bit more texture. But there we go. So this all goes in. And then I need to plant source berries. Basically, source berries are these little things that grow all over the place, right? So you can find them out exploring. I found them inside of a chest, which is pretty awesome. But yes, I'm just going to plant all of these, filling every spot. But keep in mind that you normally take some damage going through these. I think it's because I have the robe, maybe. Do you take damage without the robe? Oh, wow. I thought you used to take damage. I guess maybe they've changed things. I don't know. Or I have something going on that prevents me from taking damage from them. But regardless, as you can see, going to get them all placed in. And then the starbunkles, these are the important part, right? So yeah, these little guys are super, super adorable. And as you can see, we have 2 of them here. And what I want it to do is I want it to send to this framed drawer that we're going to have set up here. And then to link them to the drawer, I believe we go ahead and select the mob. So we store the entity and then we set the location. So I just shift right clicked to set its location. It says the Starbuncle will store items here, and you see it's picking them up and then it's depositing it into the drawer just like that. Beautiful little things. Now, what we want to do is then send these berries that it's producing. We want to send that up into this platform. And to do that, we need a pusher upgrade. And that's going to be set to the up. So as soon as we get that in, this is now going to send the berries up here. And this is where we probably need to start placing our source links. So the mycelial source link is going to then consume the berry that's on this plate. Now, we're also going to have an agronomic source link. And what this is going to do is this is going to go, oh, there's plants that are growing nearby. And what it's going to do is then send source to a nearby jar, as you can see with that. So all we need to do now is to place a jar. I think that's kind of important. And so let's place our source link, and you're going to see that source is going to be sent from this over to this. And what I'm going to end up doing, I think, is breaking this right here. And I want to set up some sort of little place for this to work and to look really nice. So I'm going to place that here, break this one, and then place this on top of like a fence just to make it look a little bit nicer in the room. I think that looks pretty good. Now, this will be a sort of test because I have not tested this before, but the tablet of overgrowth, I don't know if this will actually accelerate the crops here. It will normally accelerate crops, and it does require source in order for this ritual to run. But I'm kind of wondering, will it be self-sustainable? Will it be able to produce more berries from our setup here? So all we have to do is have a ritual and place this ritual down. And then to start the ritual, we place a tablet of overgrowth. And by default, this will grow or randomly bone meal crops. So if we were to augment it with a bone, it would actually grow baby animals. But I'm wondering, will this allow, so it does appear, I don't know if the crops, because normally if you bone meal these, you will actually not receive source for that operation. So what I'm wondering is if this refills or keeps itself filled up, then this should be one of the best ways of making sure this always keeps full. And then this will make sure to supply all of these. So yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be working the way I thought it would. However, this would probably be really nice for growing other crops, but not necessarily these crops. Now, there are other methods of growing it. We just don't have the resources just yet to grow these any faster. The one way that could definitely work would be to be the lily pad from Reliquary. It's actually really, really nice, but it does require quite a few reliquary drops in order to even craft it. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and work on some other things. Now that we have the source up and running, by the end of today's episode, I definitely want to get that source leading down into our base some way. But for right now, while we're waiting on all of that source to sort of build up, let's go ahead and set up easy villagers. And when it comes to easy villagers, one of the best parts of that mod is the iron farm. This is just a plain Jane iron farm, and it will, if you use a hopper, automatically deposit items out of the bottom, and it will end up giving you poppies and iron, which is really, really helpful. However, we do need a villager in order to do this. Looks like there's a cleric. We have any regular villagers? That will work just fine. Perfect. So we have ourselves a villager, and then all we're going to need is, I think, a hopper, because I think I need some sort of way to pull it out. I don't think it automatically deposits. And then we're going to need, I'm going to use a crate to do this. I think a crate works perfectly fine. And so all we're going to need to do is find a location. Now I want to set up easy villagers in the bottom section here. So I actually want a very interesting way of placing in these villagers. So I think this is going to be a pretty cozy little area. So upstairs, we have room for even more of the villagers to trade with. And this is going to be a really nice home for them. So let's go ahead and get this set up into a barrel, right? Now, I think I want the barrel to go over here, I guess. And then we can use a trap door, maybe to sort of assign where this is going to be at. That's going to be a thing. We're probably going to end up moving some of this stuff around over time. But yeah, we can put a barrel right here. Perfect. And have it open. And then I'm pretty sure these don't automatically deposit, but I will place it just to be sure. But once you place a villager in here, this is going to start, as you can see, it has the output for the items. And this should just over time start to produce, and it should have no problem. Yeah, I think I'm going to rearrange this a little bit. So put the hopper here, and then the iron farm, and then this. And then I will get the trapdoor placed on these two. It looks pretty nice. Then we can even cover this with a stair. Look at there. You know what? And while I'm at it, I might as well get another one set up in here as well. So that way we have two running. That'd be twice as fast. And this should just produce iron for us. Oh, and look, it's just like that. It's killing an iron golem. That's exactly what we want. Perfect. And look, we got a couple of iron ingots from that. Now, because we dabbled a little bit in easy villagers, look at that. We've gotten at least these two things. I get myself my first trader. Now, I do want to make more of these traders. However, they do require some more of that iron, which I should have. Yeah, let's go ahead and use the remaining iron that we have for these two. And I also want to grab another villager, or two villagers that are basically empty. I'm pretty sure, though, if we have like a farmer, for example, we should be able to sort of swap these out. Let's go ahead and test this. But what I want to do is be able to farm emeralds. And of course, this is vanilla stuff, and we should be able to farm emeralds from these two types of villagers, which is going to be a Fletcher. So let's go ahead and place them in. We just place them in like so, and then we place the workstations, and it should automatically adjust, as you see right there. Look at that. And so inside of here, this is exactly one of the trades that we want. We want the sticks to turn into emeralds, and over here we want sticks to turn into emeralds. That's pretty straightforward. And since wood is one of the easiest things for us to farm at the moment, it's going to be pretty easy to get ourselves several of the emeralds we're going to need. Oh my gosh, I'm just out farming trees, and just off in the distance is this beauty. Oh, when you get to see all of your work just pay off, it is just phenomenal. So let's farm up some sticks. Yes, and just like this, we can actually put two logs on top of each other, and we get sticks a little bit easier than normal. And then, of course, we could cycle the trades. Let's see. This one is giving arrows, which is great. Let's have one that gives us flint. I think arrows are still, honestly, king. So with this, I think there's some ways that you can make it possible Let's see, to trade, make all trades local. I think this is just stuff to ignore. But if you want to do this quickly to trade, you basically put the item in that you want to trade, which should be able to accept it, right? Once we click this, we should be able to hit spacebar and then hit hold down shift, and then you can just hold down shift and then hit spacebar to click, spacebar to click, spacebar click, spacebar click. And that's pretty much how I've always done this. So you click it, then hold shift, space, so on and so forth. And you just keep holding shift, and you can just cycle through incredibly fast on your trades. Now, eventually we'll be able to get into an auto trader, but that requires netherite and is a little bit further away from our current position. Now, it's currently nighttime, and what am I going to do with these emeralds? Like, why did I even farm emeralds in the first place? Well, it has something to do with these shards of balance. And I'm going to have to head out because I want to make myself an inert stone. We are missing a little bit of glowstone, but we'll figure that out here shortly. But we need to farm these. It's a 4% chance to get it from a hostile mob, which means, well, we should head off into the darkness and try our hand at killing some mobs. And yeah, this axe is actually pretty darn nice. Now, after a long night of hunting, I now have the 4 extra shards that I need. However, I did lose my axe in the process, but I think it is well worth it. Now, how exactly am I going to use the shards here, right? I need glowstone. And believe it or not, I've actually found an area in the overworld that has glowstone. And I stumbled upon it because it was actually really close to the base. I was just wandering out while I was exploring the other day and absolutely was blown away that there was glowstone in the world. So where's it at exactly? Well, it's right over here, actually. It's like right next to the base. There's a little hole in the ground, and it caught my eye when I was walking over here because it was glowing at night. And yeah, there's glowstone because it's an entire ecosystem underground. It's kind of amazing, actually. And notice these say occultism leaves. So this is added by occultism, and I have a feeling that all of these logs are not what they seem. So do not break these logs because they will be useful when you dive into occultism, and you're going to need something special in order to actually break them to get them. But we should be able to nab at least the glowstone while we're down here. So let's grab a little bit of glowstone because we don't need much. We only need enough to make that basic stone. So while wait, oh, let's go ahead, inert stone, and then it's going to get surrounded and we're going to get a balance stone. So we now have equivalent exchange. And then over here, we can now get a reward and we can choose a random reward. I'm actually going to go for, in this case, which is kind of nice because you can look these things up, but a diamond, because I think a diamond is going to be worth more emeralds, because with this stone, we can convert different blocks to different things. For example, we can take emeralds that we just farmed, right? And we can take those emeralds and then we can convert them down into diamonds. And then we can convert the diamonds down into gold, right? And then we can convert the gold into iron. And then I believe there are other recipes. Iron can turn into obsidian, but there are a bunch of different recipes for different things, right? Obsidian costs this, it knocks it down to 4. We can turn charcoal into coal. We can turn bamboo into saplings, and many other things. Some really cool ones, for example, would be, I believe, ender pearls. Actually, no, ender pearls are not available, but getting gold is going to be very nice. Like, this is all stuff that like takes it up. I don't think ender pearls, I know that was a part of the philosopher's stone, but I'm pretty sure ender pearls, yeah, it is used here. So as you can see, there are more recipes. You just kind of have to look through them all. But yes, iron, that's one that's very important to me, is iron can convert into an ender pearl. So 4 of them, bam, we have an ender pearl. Oh, it's so nice. But the fact that we can turn this also into gold is super nice because ours is very gold hungry. So yes, we basically have equivalent exchange without the entire Project D mod. And that was something that I definitely wanted to kind of ease on the early game grind of being underground all the time. And of course, it does require you to grind a little bit to get it, but just enough. I think it was really nicely balanced. as its name states, the balance stone. Now, there is one more thing that we need to do to wrap up today's episode, and that is to get ourselves this. Now that we have this gold, oh, so much nicer, we need to make ourselves a source relay. And what this is going to allow us to do is to make a jar. Now that we have some of that mana that's built up, we can now take this jar and send the mana over here. So if I go ahead and I break this and this, I can place a jar, and then I'm going to place a source relay here. And the cool part about source is it can go through walls. So this will actually speed up the process of producing the source gems, so long as we have some mana. Also will produce and increase the speed of these if there's mana nearby as well. Or source, not mana. But anyways, all we got to do is link this to another source relay that is actually connected to a source jar. So over here, I can go ahead and place this. And what I need to do is actually connect it from the container to the source link, and then from the source link to the source link that I want to send to, just like this. And it should be within range. And as you can see, it says taking from. And believe it or not, it actually sends directly, but what I want to do is send to this source jar instead. And so now it's sending to the source jar and should fill up the source jar. And then this process, as you can see, has now dramatically sped up. And that's pretty much source transfer in the nutshell. Now, to be able to go even further with the relays, well, it's going to require us to go to another dimension, because the splitter is probably one of the best items in this game, in the entire pack. I mean, the mod, not the pack. But it does require nether quartz. And of course, there is one way to get nether quartz, and that is by going to the nether. Well, outside of create, which you could technically get it without going to the nether. That, my friends, will have to wait for another time. But of course, guys, with that, I think today's episode is coming to an end. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Of course, it did take a long time to record this one, so be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're getting really close to the 600,000 subscriber mark, and boy, oh boy, am I excited. And I can't do it without you guys. Also, be sure to check out the Discord, discord.gg/ChosenArchitect, and join the amazing community that we have over there today. Oh, absolutely beautiful. Guys, it's now time to also thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Sleepy Dragon over on the Discord, becoming a Discord premium member and supporting in one of the best ways possible. Also gaining access to the supporter servers and world downloads. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Of course, see you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.